once that Ron Johnson and I had some impetus to do what we call the Pacific Light Rail on the West Coast, and we had some synergy with Cisco Systems through Jabba Borman. We saw an interesting opportunity to try to provide connectivity on a broader scale. And so we looked at what was possible with the monies that we had available to us within Pacific Northwest Gigapop and Scenic. And in discussions with Cisco, and that's a story unto itself, we emerged to be able to build an infrastructure to Chicago. Well, interestingly enough, Cisco had just made a major award to the Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center to provide connectivity to Chicago. So all of a sudden, we have an infrastructure from Los Angeles to Seattle to Denver to Chicago to Pittsburgh. And Ron Johnson had former colleagues who were provosts and executive vice presidents at Duke and Georgia Tech, respectively. And Irv Bly, who was a vice president at Virginia Tech, emerged as an interested party. He had heard about it, so he said, well, how do we get involved? And Ron made calls to his colleagues at Duke and Georgia Tech. And pretty soon, we had commitments that were going to take us from Pittsburgh to Atlanta. Well, the next chapter was that Larry Conrad, who was then in Florida, got wind of this activity, and so he mustered together the universities in Florida, and ultimately that ended up to be Florida Lambda Rail, but the idea to get connected to NLR. So now we're in Jacksonville. So that's sort of the first chapter of how NLR came to be. And the players at that point in time were Scenic, the Pacific Northwest Gigapop, the CIC with the Big Ten, Internet 2, the Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center, Virginia Tech Foundation, Duke University, and Georgia Tech, and Florida Lambda Rail. So those were the initial group of members of NLR that came to be in 2003.